Welcome to the Magic Academy. Today we are making this beautiful Samhain cinnamon roll Triskele centerpiece. Excellent for your ritual or party. Stay tuned. Okay, so let's just get right into this. I have here the start of the dough for the cinnamon roll. So we start off with the first three ingredients. We want some milk, some yeast. I'm using quick rise yeast because I think it's the best, and some sugar. The recipe will be in the description below, you guys, so just go ahead and look down there. And then you take those ingredients, warm them up to just like 105 degrees, 110, and let that yeast just ferment in there for about 10 minutes until it's nice and frothy like this. That's called proofing your yeast. I like doing that. I think it gives a better rise if you do that every time. Then I take one egg and some salt, a little pinch of salt, which is about 1/2 of a teaspoon to a teaspoon, and add that right in to the mixture. Keeping wet ingredients with wet ingredients. The small dry ingredients spread better if you put it in there with the wet ingredients. Then we're using bread flour and a dough hook. I think it's really important to use a dough hook. It saves you on the kneading process. And then we just go ahead and hook it on up to our mixer, and we mix it for about a minute or two. Really not that long at all. This recipe is pretty easy. And there we go. Now, we didn't add any butter to the recipe yet. This is where we add the butter. It's about 1/2 stick, 3½ tablespoons. So as you can see here, it's about 1/2 stick. And you want it to be softened. So to leave it out, let it soften before you get into your recipe. And then you just go ahead and add it in. Now, sometimes I go ahead and put flour out and on the counter and mix it in that way, but I really do like to keep it as moist as possible. And the more flour you knead into this, the drier it gets. So I really do prefer to mix it by hand in the air, but I keep some flour on the counter just in case I drop it or my hands get tired. But go ahead and try to mix that butter in. It's going to be really difficult at first because there's so much butter and trying to get that all in there by hand is a little bit of a chore. Make sure and get every little piece out that you can, because each one of those pieces contains granules of that yeast. And every bit of that is going to help your dough rise better. So get as much of it as you possibly can. Don't leave anything behind if you can at all help it. And as you can see, I've got that butter right there in the center. And then we just twist, pull, turn over on itself. Twist, pull, turn over on itself. And that's about the average way to mix it by hand. And you do that about 20 times. 20 to 50 times. And then it should be all mixed in there. Right now, though, you can see I am having a greasy mess, but it comes together really fine. It's just a little bit of work. Not much at all. See, we're just about done here. It mixes in pretty quickly. And there we go. It's starting to form a ball, and that's what we want. Okay, then oil the bottom of your pan. And take the ball that you just made and set it in there. And then cover it with plastic wrap, or at least paper towels or something, you know, your kitchen towel, something like that. You want to keep it covered at this point. It just helps incubate it, which gives it some power to the rise. Now here I'm just scooting some flour out of the way so you can see. I do let this rise in a warm oven, not an oven that's turned on, an oven that has been warmed, with a cup of hot water. And I just set that in the oven with the door closed and let it rise. This works excellent. You get really good results with this method. Okay, so we've let it rise for 1 hour and it has doubled in size. That is what we are looking for. And I put some flour out on my wax paper there that I've prepared. And now I'm just punching down the air out of our mixture. And we're going to roll this into a long rectangle. So I had some butter underneath there, so I put some more flour out. There we go. Now you can kind of pat it into a rectangle to get it started if you want to. Handle it a little bit, shape it into a bit of a rectangle like I'm doing here instead of a full circle. It'll just make it easier as you're rolling it out. See? Just like a nice rectangle. And I don't have a rolling pin, so I am using a water bottle that I've cleaned and readied for this. And we just roll it out into a nice rectangle, whatever size for the recipe that you've used. Just keep rolling it out until it's nice and thin. It's not very hard to work with at all. It's super fluffy. And there we go. It's just about ready. I'm sorry for getting cut off on the bottom there, you guys. It's the first time I used this camera setup, so it was a little bit different for me. And it was taller than me, so I couldn't really see what I was actually capturing with the video. So, but you can get the idea. I mean, obviously it's pretty easy to roll if I'm just using one hand and I'm barely adding any pressure. So this is a really nice, easy recipe. Now we're ready for the butter. So we take that softened butter, about a half a stick, and we just glop it on there in different spots to make it easier to spread. Yeah, about a half a stick, see? And just spread it around. A nice even layer all over the surface. I do leave the part that's off the camera there, I leave about 1 inch that is untouched by butter or anything. Maybe just a little bit of butter, not like a whole layer like I'm doing here. And I don't put the cinnamon sugar ingredient there either. That helps seal it when you make the roll. So we will be rolling towards the bottom of the screen here. And that will be like the lip of the envelope, so to speak. The part that's off the camera. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're ready for our cinnamon sugar. I use brown sugar, you guys. I think it adds a better flavor with cinnamon, the ground cinnamon. And I just pour it all in there and mix it together. Really, it's about a half cup to 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar packed, and a few tablespoons of cinnamon. And just distribute it evenly all over the surface, leaving that 1 inch gap at the bottom there that you can't see on this video. You'll be able to see it at home, just not here. and just cover it entirely. Yeah, it looks like a lot of sugar, but it really isn't. It cooks right into there. It's really nice. Spread it out with your hands. Press it down somewhat so when you're rolling it, it doesn't really fall off. And then use the rest to fill in any gaps that you have missed. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, now we're ready to roll it. Okay, so here we go. So we just start rolling it forwards. Getting it started sometimes seems like the hardest part. It wants to roll back on you. But once you get it rolled once or twice, it does pretty good. Right here you can see I'm pulling it backwards a little bit and then re-rolling it. You'll have to do that just a little bit to keep it tight. This isn't huge like the ones that they make in the store, so like at the mall, so it's easier to handle. And I've got everything off screen, but I catch that and I put it back in just a second. Here's the lip that I was talking about, the lip of the envelope where we didn't put any sugar, just a little bit of butter. And as you can see, it helps seal it together. And there we go. Now I realize I'm off screen. And we're back. I'm looking for my pastry cutter here. What we need is 5 pieces, 5 even pieces. So I get that one out of the way because it's not going to be even. And that's about the size that we want right there. So 2 to 3 inches height and about 5 of them. And that's good. Okay, so I've got the 5 pieces on this cookie sheet. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to use for the centerpiece. Not that one. There we go. This is going to be perfect. And I start it into a triangle. I started off as a triangle. It doesn't stay that way. It just wants to be round. Nothing I can do about that. But I do pinch it into a triangle at first. And that does help me keep my bearings as I'm trying to make this. So we want 1 circle on each one of the flats of that triangle. Try to make sure that they're going the same way, that they're rolled in the same direction. And then that 5th one, keep it to the side. That's the one that's going to help us bring this Triskele together into the final shape. Because we're going to unroll a little piece at a time, and we're going to make an S that connects each one of the Triskeles to the centerpiece. So as you can see, it goes from the outside, from the top outside, and then around the centerpiece there as a nice S shape. I hope you can see that. And then I go ahead and tear it off. Okay, so we did one. And then we do another one. There we go, there's the S. Oh, and I brought out my charms to show you guys. Actually, I brought out my charms to help me keep the direction because I do get lost in the direction with these. And so I'm making the other one here. Didn't know if I wanted to keep the cinnamon to the outside or to the inside at this point, but I went ahead and put it to the inside, and that was a good decision, I think. There we go. And then this one, I got confused. As you can see, I was trying to force the shape of the S. I didn't get it right. I should have put it underneath there, which I do correct. Give me just a second here. I do figure it out before I bake it. I'm like, okay, this one's shaped, this one's shaped. Now, what is it? And then I realize I've just got this on the top of both. It's got to go underneath that. There we go. And there's my S. Okay, so we've got all 3 S's. Again, I've got it off screen so you can't see the whole thing right now, but you will at the end. You will at the end. And you can see enough here to get the idea that it is how the S's work. It's got to go underneath and over, underneath and over. And there we go. So then I put the rest of them on my baking sheet and bake it all at once. Now these bake at 325 for roughly 15 to 25 minutes. It will depend on your oven. Mine bakes super fast. Let's go ahead and make the icing together. I'm just using a half a stick of butter, okay? Which is like a fourth of a cup of softened butter. Then I'm going to use the same, an equal part of Crisco, you know, of shortening. We're just making buttercream frosting here. So we're making a half a recipe. So we're going to do a fourth of a cup of Crisco as well. See, all vegetable shortening. I didn't have cream cheese, so I opted for this because I did have cream cheese extract. So let's put that fourth of a cup of shortening in there. And I just kind of mix it together by hand since it's a small amount, so it's kind of hard to mix it in a big blender. But we did it. It worked. Okay, now we're going to be using 2 cups of powdered sugar. Loosely packed. It's not like you pack it down just like flour. You just get a scoop and put it in there, nice and flat scoop. 1 and 2. Now, since I put both cups in there all at once, I did mix it with the blade, as you can see there, by hand at first, so that way I wouldn't have powdered sugar flying all over my kitchen, which is always lovely to decorate, but yeah, not tonight. Not this time. There we go. I think that's pretty good. One thing though, I did forget to add my flavoring to the creamed shortening and butter. That's the stage that you're supposed to add it to. So here I remember, and I'm like, oh, that's right. We're going to make these cream cheese flavored. So I get my cream cheese extract. I'm using Wilton cream cheese extract, which is awesome. It is really good, you guys. I love it. And you just put about 1 to 2 teaspoons in there, which is a lot, you know. It gives a nice, good flavor. But with this being Samhain, you can use any flavor you want. Anise would be a good flavor. Anything that you want to put in there, you go for it. And I did get it kind of thick, but since cinnamon rolls do melt this stuff pretty good, I thought I'll keep it thick. Perfect. I love it. Now I'm taking just under half of that mix, like a little over a third, and I'm going to color that black. And I used that gel food coloring. It worked out really nicely. See? And this is where I remember I didn't have piping bags on hand. I'm like, huh. So I decided to go ahead and use the Great Value, the Walmart freezer bags. Okay, so here's the shape of the Triskele. I'm showing you guys that there it is. It worked. Yay! And I didn't burn them. So, so 2 freezer bags, and 1 for each frosting, 1 for the white, 1 for the dark. And then I just go ahead and I don't decorate very neatly on these. I was in a hurry to get a good taste of them. So basically, I just make the cinnamon roll swirl on the top, all the same direction, and then I try to connect each one to the center of the Triskele. It's not done super neatly. I'm sure you guys probably have more experience at this than me and will do a way better job. But it's fun no matter what your experience and master level is. This is a great craft, a great baking experience to do. And there we go. Awesome. And as you can tell, my icing is a little bit too rigid, but that's fine. I got a little taste there. It's so yummy. And I just went ahead and put the black on top, and I thought that looked really fun. It's festive, it's great, great colors for the season, white and black. You can use any of our magical colors, orange, purple, black, anything. There we go. And I am running out of frosting. Do you believe it? I did only make a half a bunch, but this is where I'm noticing I might not make it. I might not be able to finish this one. But I got it. Just enough, I'm telling you. Not the prettiest icing job ever in the world, but you know, it's enough. It's enough to connect. And there's our Triskele. I think it's a beautiful Samhain cinnamon roll Triskele centerpiece. You can put anything you want around it, aside it, and there we go, you guys. A beautiful Triskele. Look at those golden cinnamon rolls. Aren't they gorgeous? Okay, I hope you have a lot of fun doing this craft, you guys. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Blessed be, and happy Samhain.
Thanks for watching, and hey, don't forget to subscribe. Go ahead and click that button and follow up by clicking that bell so you can be notified every time I upload a video. And if you're looking for more, go ahead and click that center picture and you'll be taken to my playlists. Blessed be.